Well, hello folks, this is Bowtie Dave here for Bowtie Life, and had these pepper plants all planted in these solo cups for quite a long time, and had a few setbacks and we've had a few successes. I think you saw in the raised garden bed tour, the pepper bed is still looking amazing. We've been gone on a trip and we're back, and I actually had to leave these on the ground out here while we're gone because this side yard actually gets watered really well quite regularly. Now something happened to our irrigation and it stopped watering for a few days. I'm not sure what happened, but the sunchokes, or the Jerusalem artichokes, were suffering a little when we got back, and I got it back on schedule and everything perked right up. So fortunately everything is good. In the process though, we had a few of these pepper plants kind of start looking sad. Now here's the interesting thing. I'm going to come up here close to the camera and show you the base of this. If you look down here at the bottom, there's actually new leaf growth going on in here. And so I have not completely lost hope. These wilted leaves here, they can come off. But we're going to see if this thing will come back to life. And in fact, I can see there's another new leaf coming right there, just above this dead leaf. So this thing might survive. The thing that really got my attention was, look at this one here. You can see there are really new leaves growing up down here. And there's another one right up here. There's another one. If I spin this around, you can see there's actually a lot of new growth coming out all through these plants. So I'm kind of hopeful. I'm not gonna, well, here's the thing. And so this one's got new growth. They've been in the sun a little bit. I don't know if that's the problem or not, but what I want to do here, let's do this. I'm going to take a few of these dead leaves off of here, and I can't get over all the new growth coming up down here, but I might end up losing this top, but it's okay to cut the top off, because that'll promote new branching from these other points down here. So that's not a bad thing. But here's the test. This is a Fatale pepper. It used to, I'm really sad, not my Fatale, because they look so good. I still have some very healthy ones, but the thing is, look at the roots. Let's see what the roots look like. So if the roots are fully grown in here, then it's telling me, oh, look at that. That means it is ready to go out no matter what. So that's the problem. So you look at all these little roots trying to get out. It's just starting to wrap itself around. So yeah, this definitely needs to get up potted. We'll snip off the top up here. There is a process of snipping where of topping these peppers, and some say that it helps them to bush out more, and some people have opinions on that. I've tried it. I've seemed to have gotten a little more success with it, but in fact, I think I may have mentioned it in one of my earlier videos. You can see here, this one has broken off into two branches, and I don't see where I've topped. Oh, maybe that, I don't know. But that's what topping does. Pinching off the growing point does. But we're gonna up pot some of these. Now this is an interesting one. I'm wondering if maybe a insect got to this one. It's all the leaves have been eaten off this, which doesn't look real good. Well, anyway, I just thought you might like to stick around while I do a little bit of up potting, and I'm going to put these in there. These are the ones that are going to go in grow bags, and we're right here where the orange trees are, and the grapefruit tree and the grape arbor is right behind me. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put these peppers along this edge here. Like I said, it gets good and watered through here every other day, and which is plenty for these. It's going to be in grow bags. I got a whole bunch of new 10-gallon grow bags, and we're gonna plant as many as we can. In fact, we've got one planted down there. Yeah, you can see just in the corner of the frame there. We got one planted here. This is an orange bell, and it's had some leaves eaten. So kind of tells me I might need to run some diatomaceous earth out here on these when I do this. But the edges of a few of the leaves are eaten on that orange bell on that. But anyway, next garden tour, hopefully we can get enough of these out. There's 20 plants here that I think I can get planted out. So and now the way I grew these before, in the past 2 years when we had limited space, is I put 2, 3, even 4 of these pepper plants in a single 10-gallon grow bag, kind of spread them out around. And I'm not doing that. I have room to spread out. We have a lot of space. I've got almost 30 grow bags, so I've got plenty of grow bags to fill up. The challenge is, do I have enough dirt? That's going to be the challenge, because I still want to plant some potatoes, and some of you know I plant my potatoes in grow bags as well. So probably not going to plant quite as many out as I did last winter. We don't eat a lot of potatoes, but we do eat them. So anyway, let me go. I'm going to have to go grab the wheelbarrow and some soil. And I've got, there's a few things I do have here. A couple of my favorite things. This is no sponsorship or anything. I do have the Espoma tomato tone. This is a good general fertilizer. Once they're at this point, they're interested in setting roots and starting to shoot out for fruit. And so what this does, this has an NPK. We've talked about NPK before. Nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. Okay. But the NPK here is 346. And this is not strictly, but the general rule of thumb, and it's a broken thumb for those of you who know, but the general rule of thumbs is shoots, roots, and fruits, NPK. So the first one is how much you want to put into shoots, the green growth. The middle one is how much you want to put into roots. The third one is how much you want to put into the fruits. And so you'll notice the 346, if you can see that, it's 346. The 346 will put a little bit more into roots and start developing fruit. They do have some pretty good leaves. I've been feeding them a lot of nitrogen. We put a lot of fish fertilizer in the bottom feeding as they were growing up, which is why they're looking so good like they do right now. So I'm hoping that putting them into this kind of fertilizer, it'll be happy to start doing its thing. So hang up that phone call. Okay, so the other thing I have is I do have some Sta-Green flower and vegetable garden soil, and I'm gonna use up the rest of my potting soil as well, which is the blue bag. The garden soil is the yellow bag. The blue bag is the container soil, and I get this at Lowe's. I've used several of the soils. Again, there's no sponsorship on any of this, but I have found this to be, number one, not an arm and a leg to buy, which is nice. But number two, they've been very consistent. Normally, when you get to the cheaper brands, you buy one bag and it looks one way. It might be perfect, and then a month later you go buy another bag and it's all sandy, and a month later you go buy another bag and it looks completely different. So I found that this Sta-Green is, number one, at a decent price, and number two, is very consistent. I've been very pleased with what I've gotten out of it. So I do have a little bit of bone meal that I'm going to be adding, and now the bone meal is phosphorus, which is going to help a little bit more with root growth. Remember, this thing focuses more, this Espoma organic tomato tone focuses more on fruits, and I do want to give it a little bit more root development. So I'm going to be putting in some bone meal as well. So with that being said, let me go and get the wheelbarrow and bring around a few half-full grow bags and get some of these things planted up. What do you say? Want to join me? here we go. So there's the Sta-Green bone meal right there that I was talking about. So anyway, I did some gathering together. I've got a bunch of grow bags back here with old soil on them, and we're going to start planting up some of these peppers into 10-gallon grow bags one by one. And so I'm a little excited, but anyway, I want to mention I am using recycled soil. Now, there are people who tell you got to change your soil out every single time, and I have been doing this my 3rd year doing it, and I have simply found out that you really don't have to change out your soil. I haven't had any problems with my soil yet that I've needed to change out any soil. They say fast things happen, but frankly, I'm too much of a cheapskate. I'm really cheap. I can't even afford a full tie. Yeah, that's terrible. So if you want to find out how much I really do pay for my ties, you can watch my How to Tie a Bow Tie video on this channel. But anyway, what I want to do is I want to show you a little bit about amending this soil here. And now this here was probably potatoes. I want to say it was probably potatoes, judging by the feel of it. So I'm putting more nightshade in it. Not really worried about that with rotation or anything. Everything in here is so diverse, and I'm going to be supplementing this anyway. But my biggest concern is where I've been storing this, and this stuff is dry. And I'll tell you the truth, this soil is probably pretty dead. Yeah, it's not that great. So first thing you got to realize about dry soil is that it is hydrophobic. And what that means is once it gets dry, it wants to stay dry. And so I have down here a bucket of water that I got out of my well. We have a well here. And why is that important? Well, I don't use citified water when I can avoid it. The chemicals the water system puts in their water it can have a negative effect on the life of the soil, the life of the plants. I don't believe it is detrimental in most cases, but I don't think it really helps a lot. And so when I can, I try to avoid it. And one of the reasons we bought this house is because of the well, and the fact that I can get water like this with no chemicals in it, and well, as few chemicals as possible. It is rain runoff, and people spray Roundup and other chemicals like that. And let me tell you something, do not spray Roundup, because that stuff gets in the water system, it stays in the water system. It goes on forever. Once it's there, and it's very difficult to get it out. So I don't spray any poisons on my property. I know that some of my neighbors do, and I will say you really shouldn't do that, but they're gonna do what they're gonna do. Okay, so anyway, what I did with this hydrophobic soil is, in fact, I'm going to move the table aside a little bit here, if I can, without dumping everything like that. Doggone it. That was silly. I know, that was silly. Okay, now they won't be as likely to dump. You can see here my bucket of water, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to set this down in it slowly. Now, a lot of the water is going to come running out, I know. I actually just stuck a hose in it, ran over, turned on the irrigation pump, and came back. But see how it's floating? It's just floating there, and it's going to sink slowly. And that's how slow it is to soak up new water. So watch that thing. It does not want to soak up the new water. It's doing it slowly, but kind of shows you how hydrophobic it is. It just doesn't want to, the soil does not want to accept the water. And so if I dig down in here, this will be kind of, there's a little bit of water seeping in. There we go. Yep, I feel it. And the soil even floats on the surface in here. It doesn't even, it's trying not to go in the water. So basically you need to let your soil soak for a little while. I've heard people say 10 minutes. I've heard people say 6 hours. I'm not doing 6 hours because this would make this process very painful. And I'm not that patient of a person. So I am going to give it about 10 minutes to soak in real good and get that soil wet. Next thing we're going to do is I'm going to supplement it with some, you'll see that blue bag right there. I'm going to supplement it with some of the potting soil that I have until that's gone. And I'm going to put some of the fertilizers, the organic fertilizers in here that we've already discussed in this video. So let's give this a few minutes. I'll give it 10 minutes and then we'll check right back with you. Okay, so it's been about 10 minutes, maybe a little less. I've gotten some compost. That red bucket right there is compost from my own compost bin, and we have other soils here, but I'm going to lift this out here real quick. Oh, yeah, it has a lot of water in it. You can see how much water is draining out of this now. There was too much water because I had it submerged, of course, and I want to get as much of that out as possible, because what we're going to get down to is soil that we cannot squeeze any water out of, and it kind of holds together and breaks apart at the slightest movement, slightest pressure of your finger. And so I think we're going to be down to about what we want here as far as moisture content. And if I dump it, you can see that just about all of it, well, let me move it into frame here. You can see that most of it is wet. And here's the interesting thing. Well, I guess that's sand, lighter sand. There is some sand in here. But the water is permeating. And, well, there was still a lot of water in there. But, oh, looky here. Nothing been done here. Can you see the worm in my hand? There was a worm in there. Yay! So it wasn't completely dead. That's good. Woo! He's crawling through my fingers. There he goes. So there was at least one worm in there, so the soil wasn't completely dead. I don't know how he's alive because that soil was dry. Dry. I did not expect to see any worms, but he was a healthy worm. A little bit skinny, but he was a healthy worm. So what I'm going to do here, I have a little bit left in this bag. I'm basically going to supplement it with just a little bit more of this other soil. Ooh, that was filtered stuff. Oh well, that's fine. Because we're going to put a nice couple of scoopfuls of this in there. Now this stuff does have moisture. Also, it's been sitting in my storage shed for several months. Still has moisture, so that tells me that it's probably pretty healthy. It has good stuff in it. So I feel real good about its content and the life in it. I haven't seen any worms, but I don't expect to see any worms inside the bag. So if we see worms there, I don't know, maybe we will. But I am going to inoculate it. What I got here was, I got down in my own compost bin, dug deep where the stuff was not heat, and I'm going to just give this thing a little more life here. Oh, there's a few leaves mixed in there. Ugh. Going to give it a few handfuls of more diverse biome, and we'll mix that in. And then we're going to put this back in the same grow bag. This grow bag, these are very cheap grow bags. I get them on Amazon for about $2 a piece in a 20 pack, I think it is. In fact, I just got an order of some of these. I'm going to use up these older ones first, but I didn't have enough to plant all my peppers out, so I ordered some more. Okay, so I've got about half full down there. Next thing I need to do is I need to get some of my tomato tone in there, and this is going to get mixed throughout. Now this is a slow release fertilizer, and I really like the way Hollis explains it over at Hollis and Nancy about these slow release fertilizers. You say, well, that's not going to be available for months. Well, immediately, yeah, there's a little tiny bit available, a small percentage. This month is halfway over, and there's still going to be a little bit more by the end of the month. By the end of next month, it feeds for several months. So you figure 1% of that is going to come out each day. That would give 100 days of feed, and that's what I need out of it. So it does start feeding a little bit, even from the beginning. So I poured that in there. I'm going to mix that in the bottom. Oh, there's that worm. I'm very excited to have found a worm in there. That soil has been sitting for months in a place where it gets no water, only sun, and no water. It's under cover. It doesn't rain. Rain doesn't even hit it. Thought I had a grub in there. I do not. And yeah, I'm going to fill this thing up. It's pretty, oh, you can't quite see that, can you? It's pretty full. I'm going to fill it as full as I can, if not to the top, because the first time I water it, it's going to settle the very first time. This thing will actually settle down in the next few weeks, probably at least an inch, if not more. I just found a rotten garlic clove. Very rotten garlic clove. Okay, so all that soil went back in there, it filled it up, and that is ready for a pepper plant. Now, one thing I like to do, I like to make it ever so slightly a bowl shape in here. You know, raise up the edges ever so slightly so that when it gets watered, the water's going to run down to the middle here. It will not be important later on in its life as the roots spread out, but it will help as much water get into the roots in the middle of the plant as soon as possible. Now, so what we're going to do here is we're going to take this pepper plant right here, and look down at the bottom. This stem will grow adventitious roots, and it's like what a tomato plant does. Is it will grow roots all the way from its stem. A lot of the nightshades will do that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to be burying this stem pretty deep. This root ball very deep, or as deep as I can get it in here, which is going to be up to here most likely. I'm probably going to bury that much of the plant into this pot. You'll notice here, it goes down pretty far. So I'll have plenty of room to plant this as deep as I can. Now, there are some leaves that are struggling here. That's got a little strain on it. I'm going to pop a couple of these struggling leaves out in the hopes that it will encourage new growth, and it will. As soon as this thing hits the soil, it's going to take off. So this is a jalapeno traveler, and let's just look at what the root ball looks like. Pull it out here. I'm very excited because this is one of my biggest ones. Oh yeah, look at that. It's just barely started to make rotations around the bottom of the solo cup. And it hadn't gone very far. It's gone surprisingly not as far as I would have thought it might go. But you tease those roots a little bit, get them moved around. We're actually breaking some of the roots, not intentionally, but it's going to happen. But what that does is it causes more, it stimulates more growth of the roots. So that's what tickling the roots does. We got it looks like a mess now. Well, that's what it looks, that's what it likes. It's gonna make it grow. So we're gonna go in here as deep as I can. And I'm actually gonna reach my hand down there underneath and try to push out some more dirt underneath it. There we go. And now we have the latest addition to our garden, a new jalapeno traveler planted on July 22nd, and here it is, the middle of October. So most likely what's going to happen with a lot of these in the bags is I'll end up bringing them into the sunroom. We've got a lot of room in the sunroom where these things can come in and live during the coldest week we might have. This is the panhandle of Florida, so we don't get a lot of cold. It's pretty easy to cover these things, you know, take care of these things around here. But there we go. We have a planted jalapeno traveler. It looks really good too. I'm very pleased. I'll come back out after it's had a chance to grow in a little bit and pick off some of the stress leaves, but I guarantee it's going to start some of the new, oh, I forgot bone meal. Well, the tomato tone has a lot in it. Doggone it. Well, anyway, digging that root ball down deep, I got it down into the soil where the tomato tone is, and this thing's ready to go. We'll see how this goes. Keep an eye on the front and side garden tours coming up, and we'll see how this does. In fact, I'll put this one over here right next to the middle citrus tree sprinkler, and I'll try to remember to report on this particular one. It's heavy with water. I think it's going to be good. Okay, so that's going to be my task for the next few hours. Sun's coming down. It's almost 4 o'clock in the afternoon, so it's a really good time to do this. This side of the house is so cool. I love it. The temperature drops over here several degrees once I get behind the shade of the tree, so that makes me very happy. Gonna get ready for the next one here. Some of these other bags that I've got here, these were garlic that didn't grow. If you watched my garlic unboxing video, I talked about a lot of garlic that failed on us, and that's what these smaller bags with the leaves on top are. Just didn't have a good garlic year, so unfortunately Mrs. Bowtie has to really budget out what garlic we did get, what little garlic we did get. But anyway, let me get some of more of this done, and we'll see if we can have some success with peppers this year. I'm very excited about that. I'm going to be selecting some of the stronger looking peppers out here in case I don't get through all these. Sun is setting. I waited too long. Mrs. Bowtie and I ran errands this morning that lasted until about 2 o'clock, and the day just kind of got away from us. You know how that goes. Life happens. But anyway, let me continue on. So I mentioned that some of these bags had potatoes in it. Look what I found. A small potato with a root growing out of it. That was very cool. I think it was trying to grow. It was down in the bottom of a grow bag though, I believe. So as you can see, I'm getting a little more organized here. I remember to start another bag soaking before I start working on the bag I have up. Also, I'm remembering to mix in all the fertilizer here where I can get it mixed good throughout. And the bone meal has been getting in as well. So trying to also get a real nice variety of my peppers in the cups over here. So I'm not planting all jalapenos, for instance. Though Mrs. Bowtie does want more jalapenos, so I'm gonna have to go a little heavy on those. But we'll get there. Let's just continue on here. I'm gonna start combining some of these smaller bags that had the garlic in it. Two bags, the dirt from 2 bags into 1 bag. You'll see that here as I go. So I got a little excited when I saw this. I'm gonna look around behind the camera and see if I can show you guys. You see those little hairs coming off those roots? Those were adventitious roots. It's from when I planted this seedling a little deep, and it's trying to reach out for more soil. That's what these pepper plants will do. They'll reach out for more soil and create these roots like that. And what you want to see, it's a healthy thing. So this, what is this? This is a orange bell pepper. This orange bell pepper has earned its next life, so to speak. But anyways, some of these grow bags that I'm using here, some of those earlier ones that I was using with the potatoes in them, some of these bags are 3 years old. Are on their 3rd year. We're at the end of the 3rd planting season for them. The growing bags are really good because number one, it keeps the soil properly aerated and properly drained, which is a very important thing. You don't want to get your roots drowning in liquid like this one is. I can feel it's kind of wet. But the other thing is, the way these roots are coming around here, that does not happen in grow bags. And the reason is, as these roots come out to the edge of the grow bag, they stop growing. They don't keep looking because plastic is not porous, it's solid. And so it just keeps looking, it thinks it's still in the dirt. But in the grow bag, it will stop once it gets to the edge of that grow bag, and it will come back and start another root. And 3 years ago, I actually did an experiment with a tomato plant, and I grew the same kind of tomato plant in a bucket and a grow bag. And at the end of the season, I compared the root balls, and I pulled the bucket ones out, the bucket tomato out, and rinsed off the roots and everything. They were these long, straggly things. In fact, they'd gone out the bottom of the bucket and gone about 10 feet into the garden and found some more dirt. But the ones in the grow bag, it looked more like a chia pet. Just this pom-pom of roots. And every time those roots go out, detect this edge of the grow bag, they would send hormones back and they would grow another root. And send hormones that grow. And so it was just this pom-pom of roots. It's really cool. And there's people out there that talk a lot about growing in grow bags. One of the biggest complaints is that it's hard to keep them moist enough, the soil moist enough, and I've never had that problem. These are really, the walls of these are actually really thick. Most grow bags are really, really thick fabric. It's actually made of recycled plastics, so they don't break down as easy. And so I have had a couple of failures. In fact, one, I know I ripped the big side out of it and I stuck a piece of weed cloth inside there and used it again. But anyway, so these grow bags, all these ones I'm using so far are 1, 2, or 3 years old. Well, no, 2 or 3 years old. I haven't gotten to any of the new ones yet. Now this one, because it's growing kind of at an angle, I'm going to try to straighten it a little bit when I stick it in here, which is one of the reasons I stopped the fast camera for just a minute. And you'll notice all the leaves are pointing the one way. It'll fix itself. It'll right itself. Leaves will start turning upwards and it'll start growing the right direction. And yeah, plants are pretty smart that way. So yeah, I planted this guy not quite as deep as I was hoping to, but those adventitious roots are definitely gonna find soil now. Fertile soil at that. So let's go back to the fast camera. So there you have it. Figured I'd just end with a shot of the existing pepper bed and how it's looking. We're a little excited. We're gonna get peppers this winter. We do live on the Florida Panhandle. We'll be putting plastic over this and covering this over when it gets real cold. But hopefully enough of these pepper plants will survive through the winter to where we'll have peppers starting early in the spring. That's my hope, at least. The peppers that I planted out 10 peppers, which was not nearly as many as I was hoping to plant out today. But well, there was, if you counted in the video watching section where I was watering, there's 11 plants there. There was already an orange bell sitting over there. But anyway, appreciate you following along as we chatted about potting up some pepper plants. And I do want to show you the pomegranates that we've got coming up. They're going to get potted up. I'm going to put them in little solo cups. But I've got a whole bunch of little pomegranate trees coming up that I want to get up potted because they're just in a tray, 3 trays actually, and I want to get them in individual solo cups and see if we can start growing some pomegranate trees. But peppers was the topic for today, and I'm tired. There's a lot of dirt to mix up, and I'll be honest, after I got done, I remember there is another method that I like to do, and it's where you spread out a tarp and dump all the soil, dump all the amendments, and then you use the tarp to go back and forth, and it mixes up the contents real fast, and then you use a shovel and fill a bunch of bags, and I should have done that way. And maybe tomorrow I'll record another video of me doing it that way. But yeah, too little too late. My brain is tired. But anyway, we'll check you on the next video. I appreciate you following along. Appreciate you watching the video, and if you're still watching, thank you for watching all the way through. And as always, please like and subscribe. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. We're still trying to get our custom URL, so we need 100 subscribers, and we're building our content slowly. And start of a new channel here it's slow going, so you know, we have a couple years of dues to pay to get content up and get better at what we're doing, and hopefully get better at what we're doing. But yeah, one day someone's gonna go back and watch some of these old videos and remember, oh yeah, they were looking for subscribers to get their custom URL. Did they ever get that? Hopefully someday in the near future we'll be getting that. But I did want to mention the bee guy came today and gave our bee box a healthy report. All the brood is being consolidated down into the bottom 2 of the 3 boxes, and the top box has honey in it, which is very exciting. It's really, the whole hive has settled down quite a bit though. There's not nearly as many bees, and but we did pull out the racks, and we saw new eggs in the brood racks, where I suppose they're just getting ready for next year, but they have plenty of honey in there to last them over the winter, and they get to keep that, and that's going to be their sustenance. So we got to get out here and start clearing out weeds on some of these old beds and get ready for new trellis and new soil and a whole bunch of other new stuff that's coming in out here. But that's a whole nother video, and plans for the next couple months. But anyway, I think that's everything I wanted. Oh, I did want to mention one thing. As far as keeping the grow bags moist, the soil in the grow bags moist, we do live in Florida, in the panhandle of Florida. It's extremely humid here, and I imagine that probably has a lot to do with the soil staying moist. If you're in a very, very dry climate, like Edge of Nowhere Farms, I'm not sure how well they would do with grow bags, because it's in the middle of Arizona, southern Arizona, I think, and it's pretty dry there. So I don't know that the grow bags are for everyone, but I do know for me here in Destin, Florida, on the coast, it has just been a great thing, a great tool for me. So all that being said, I'm going to go over and clean up a mess and pack it in for the night, because we got sun setting and it's starting to get dark out here. And like I said, the cafe lights have come on over the raised beds. It's one of our favorite times. Oh, looky here. Check out these massive pomegranates. In fact, I probably ought to harvest some of those. That second one over there is baseball sized, but we'll get those picked here pretty soon and probably harvest some more juice and freeze it. But anyway, again, thank you for joining me. You're awesome for watching. Appreciate it. Please click that thumbs up on the video if you saw anything of interest. And as always, have a blessed day.